What's up, guys? Welcome back to Denver Beer and Oil. It's been a while since I've last seen you. M60 e30 things. I've got it up on the lift, and you'll notice behind me I have a bunch of parts. Basically what went on is, if you remember in Will's video,
and his steering wheel's a little ghetto, but
the steering wheel was a little shaky, and if you see there, eventually it wore out and there's no splines in the steering wheel at all. So that's a solid positive. I have a replacement steering wheel here, a replacement column because the threads were screwed up from the rush job that I did to get to TexFest. I got the sketchy low profile column or shift linkage, and then I have an e46 M3 rack. I'm planning on eventually doing power steering, but in the meantime I got the delete plate just so I didn't blow any seals. I'm using e30 inner and outer tie rods, and the boots aren't really compatible at all. I've heard you want e46 boots for the rack instead of the e30 ones, but I got it as a kit. I made it work. It'll be temporary. But yeah, it's coming along. This was pretty sketch. It broke down in Boulder, which is about 20 minutes from the shop, and I drove it the whole way prying like the steering wheel against the shaft that was stripped out. So it's a good thing. I think the first thing I'm gonna pull is the steering rack, because if I can't get that to kind of line up width-wise, I've got to figure out another solution. So I think pull the rack first, measure the rack out, kind of do an alignment, and then from there I'm gonna go column and linkage, and it should be good to go and ready to drive again. It's been down for a while. I've just been waiting for parts. Not too much to update as far as this car goes. It's got a hood on it now. Things are just tightened up. I used to lose a lot of diff bolts, so Loctite and diff bolts apparently is a thing. Now I know. What else? The brake bias was set up reverse, so I had like a 70% rear and then 30% front. That ate up my brakes. I replaced those, swapped the brake line over, re-bled it. It's fantastic. Yeah, nothing crazy. I put a sub in, but it's not crazy. It's like a sub, you know? So either way, let's pull this rack and see if I can do a backyard alignment real quick. All right, so the steering rack's about ready to come down, and a few things. First of all, the engine's settled, and so that clearance that I showed you guys when I was doing this video, building this car, it doesn't exist anymore, and I'll show you what we're dealing with. Let me grab a flashlight. So you can pretty clearly see in the pan, and I'm gonna zoom in and post so you guys can see it, but that's about almost worn through entirely. If I didn't catch this any sooner, I think I'd be screwed. And yeah, so that's pretty much how that's going. Over here, I've got two head bolt washers for either side, so I think if I raise it about 1/4 inch, I'll be good again. I mean, we'll find out. Ending up pulling the rack, it wasn't just two bolts and kind of finagle it out. I had to drop the subframe in order to actually get the bolts, because it was, so the pan was resting on the bolts to the steering rack. And so I ended up having to jack up the engine here and then lower the pan and give myself the room I needed to get it out. But it's out now, and I mean, it's completely unbolted and disconnected and everything. So it's time for this bad girl to go in after we match up the ends. That's right, can't forget. All right, so we got the e30 rack pulled on top, e46 rack ready to go in on the bottom. I've got them both at full lock that way. I can't center them in the middle, but I could center them from side to side. You can see with the e30 inners and outers, there's only like a slight amount of adjustment. The e30 one's slightly further out, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get like a square on here and then back it up so it matches. And same thing for this end, pull it out slightly. Okay, so battery is low, but I figured I'd give you guys a quick update. Nothing has gone to plan. The low profile steering linkage doesn't actually fit with the headers that we made, so I've taken out the driver's side header entirely, and I'm clearancing it with a ball peen hammer in hopes that it'll work and everything will be okay, but it's a lot of work and feels really sketchy. Project car life? I don't know. I still haven't even put the column in. I'm kind of on step one, you know, so just trying to get it as done as possible. All right, so I got the header clearanced and the steering shaft fit. But before I show you guys that, I've actually never shown anyone the exhaust. We ended up making it at 2 a.m. before Tex Fest, and I just never got around to finishing that video, so I'll give you guys a shout right now. It just comes out of the headers, goes into an X-pipe. It's all 2.5. This is going to be right underneath the transmission cross brace, so right here. And then goes into dual resonators, past the axles, and into a muffler with some nice tips. I got, this is actually the second iteration of this exhaust. It went to John at VI's to get the tips, the muffler brought up so it sits in there better. And then also I had a low section that I bottomed out on quite a lot. So I just had them go ahead and fit it and make it tuck up quite a bit more. But it's really good. I like the way it sounds, and I'll show you guys pretty much how it sounds and looks once it's back and installed. So let's check out the sketchy shifting linkage now too. So there it is. You can see it. It's pretty. It's apart. It took forever to get in. You can see in there the clearancing that I did as well to the header to get the linkage to fit, and it's all super tight in there. There's not a lot of room for error, but yeah, we'll see how it goes, and I'll finish putting it together and let's go for a drive. Alrighty, so it's the next day. I came out to Boulder just because it's a little bit prettier. There's some nice mountains in the background there, but it steers way better. It's a lot more sharp, it's a lot quicker, it feels like it should when it came from the factory, you know? It's just tighter. I don't really know how to explain it, but I feel like I can do more with it now that it's got the e46 M3 rack. Not to mention having like a good wheel is a serious help. Good column, and everything kind of just put back together how it should have been. So I'm really stoked to drive it. The sketchy linkage still kind of binds a little bit on the exhaust even though I cleared it. I can feel it occasionally, and it's nothing super bad, but I might end up clearancing that out in the future just to get a better idea. But no, it's super happy, and I'm really stoked with it. So thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.